Have you ever noticed that the guys who try the hardest usually get the least results? They chase. They try to be funny. They text all the time. They do everything to please. And still, women pull away. Meanwhile, that other guy, the one who barely said a word, who didn't even show much interest, he's the one she wants. Seems unfair. It's not. It's pure psychology. And today, you're going to understand why a man's silence is worth more than 1,000 words, and how to use it to gain respect, desire, and magnetic presence. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like, no matter how hard you tried, women just didn't take you seriously? If so, pay close attention to what I'm about to show you, because it might be the turning point you've been needing to become the kind of man no one forgets. Most men are stuck trying to impress. They shape their personality to please. They try to guess what she wants to hear. They pretend to be something they're not. They think they have to perform, to be the class clown, to always have a clever response, to always be available. But the more you try to impress, the less interesting you become. And there's a very clear reason why. When you seek approval, you give up your power. You place yourself beneath her. You become weak. And women, they feel that. In your eyes, in your energy, in how you speak, in how you carry yourself. They feel it. They might not say it out loud, but they know exactly when you're desperate for acceptance, when you need them to feel validated, when your self-worth depends on their response, and nothing kills attraction faster than that. There's an evolutionary reason for this. Women have been wired by nature to recognize strength, men who are secure and capable of protection. A man begging for attention signals weakness, insecurity, emotional dependence, and that triggers a subconscious alarm. This man isn't reliable. He needs me more than I need him. That's why the harder you try, the more she pulls away. Not out of cruelty, out of instinct. It's not looks. It's not money. It's not status. It's presence. Emotional control. Not needing her. Women are drawn to the man who's complete on his own, who lives in his own world, who has a strong mind, a silence filled with substance. And that's exactly what most men never develop. They're loud on the outside and empty on the inside. The stoic man is the opposite. He says little, but when he speaks, she listens. Think about this. Why do some women get obsessed with men who barely give them attention? The answer lies in what the Stoics called total self-mastery. This man doesn't crumble over rejection. He doesn't change his tone because she disappeared. He doesn't send 3 messages in a row if she doesn't reply. He doesn't check if she's seen his texts. He doesn't build theories about her behavior. He remains grounded, calm, unbothered by the emotional chaos around him. And that calm indifference, it stirs something in her. It intrigues. It pulls her in ways she can't even explain. Because she's used to weak men. She's used to beggars. She expects the cliché, but the stoic man is the exception. And every woman craves what she doesn't fully understand. By the way, want to know something interesting? The more emotional control you develop, the more you'll start to feel small things shift. Your focus improves. Your performance at work goes up. You stop feeling weak, insecure, reactive. Your energy rises naturally. And there's a little detail most guys never notice. There's something that can quietly accelerate this process, boosting your focus, your drive, and even your physical energy. I'm not going to explain it here because this isn't the place for it. But if you want to understand how it ties into your masculine strength, check out what I left in the description. But only click when this video's over. Now let's go deeper. Want to know when a woman starts chasing you? It's when she senses you're not trying to prove anything. It's when you don't fold under her little tests, when you're kind, but mysterious. When you have your own life, and she's not the center of it. When you walk into a room and don't try to impress anyone, you already stand out. All the other guys are competing for attention, cracking jokes, saying random things, being predictable, not you. When you look her in the eyes with calm confidence and then return to your own world, you become a challenge, and women love a challenge. Desperate men are disposable. Centered men are unforgettable. Here's something most people don't get. We value what we can't easily have. If you're always available, always replying instantly, always agreeing with everything she says, you become ordinary, predictable, boring. But if you have your own schedule, your own interests, your own life, if sometimes you take a while to reply because you were doing something important, if you politely disagree when you have a different opinion, if you don't cancel your plans just because she showed up, you become interesting. You become a mystery she wants to solve. Over the next 7 days, try this. Days 1 through 2. Active observation. Enter rooms without trying to please anyone. Speak less, observe more. Truly listen when others talk. Days 3 to 4. Vocal control. Respond with pauses and calmness. Lower your voice. Confident men speak softer. Don't fill awkward silences with empty words. Days 5 to 7. Physical presence. Control your gaze, posture, and gestures. Hold eye contact. Don't look away first. Own your space confidently. At first, it'll feel odd, but soon you'll notice a shift in the room. People will listen more intently. Women will look at you differently. Your value will rise. Without a single word. In the past, seduction was about social rank. Owning the fastest horse, the sharpest sword, the richest land. Today, it's about inner control. Emotional stability. Not being shaken by the madness of the modern world. The more emotionally stable you are, the more magnetic you become. Attraction doesn't come from loud excitement. It comes from calm strength. If she senses she can shake you with a little drama, she'll lose interest. But if she can't rattle you emotionally, she'll want to know why. And then you stop being just another guy and become unforgettable. But here's something almost no one tells you. It's not enough to appear calm. You have to be calm. The peace you project must be real, felt, not fake. Because women sense fake instantly. They know when you're holding back and when you've mastered your emotions. They feel the difference between a mask and a man. That's why the real work is internal. You don't learn this silent presence by memorizing lines or copying other guys on the internet. You learn by living. You learn by being. You learn by facing your own insecurities and fears. And it starts with one powerful choice. Stop reacting. Start observing. Next time something irritates you, don't react. Observe the irritation. Take a deep breath. Let the emotion pass, like a cloud in the sky. It sounds simple, and it is. But simple doesn't mean easy. Most people can't handle their own silence, their own inner emptiness. Ever notice how uncomfortable people get with silence? They try to fill it with nervous jokes, random comments, anything to avoid the void. But the stoic man, he's at home in the silence. He doesn't need constant noise. He's fine with pauses in conversation. And that's magnetic. Because silence is power. And power, in the end, is what truly attracts. It's not about controlling the outside. It's about not being controlled by it. If you can remain calm, still, and present, even when the world around you is spinning, you become rare. You become respected. You become desired. Another common mistake. A lot of guys think detachment means being cold, that it's about not caring, cutting off all emotional connection. It's not. Real detachment means feeling everything without being ruled by anything. It's being with a woman because you want to, not because you need her to feel whole. It's looking her in the eyes, knowing that if she walks away, your life stays peaceful. It's loving her deeply, but not depending on her for happiness. And that is what she feels. And that's what she respects. Because deep down, every woman craves a man who is whole on his own, not someone begging for crumbs of attention and validation. Look, a lot will start changing once you master this mental state. Even your physical energy will shift. Your posture, your focus, your mood, everything aligns. And there's one natural element most guys overlook, a small biological switch that can quietly help accelerate this process. It's not something men usually talk about, but it makes a massive difference in how you feel on the inside and how women perceive you on the outside. If you want to learn more, check out the content I left in the description. But remember, it only makes sense if you're truly ready to transform from the inside out. Now listen closely. There's a massive difference between a man who controls himself and one who's constantly reacting to everything. One reacts automatically, the other responds with intention. And when you become the man who chooses his response, everything shifts. Women feel it. Because your posture changes, your tone changes, and most of all, your presence speaks louder than words. You become the kind of man who doesn't need female validation to feel valuable, but still attracts it naturally. And that's the paradox. The less you chase, the more you receive. Want to make a woman think about you when you're not around? You don't need to send a dozen romantic messages. You don't need to post cryptic quotes online. You don't need to force connection with tricks. You don't need to pretend to be someone you're not. You just need to be unforgettable. And what makes a man unforgettable is the impression he leaves when he walks away. That quiet confidence. That sense of, this man knows exactly who he is. That energy of someone with purpose and direction. That's what stays in her mind. That's what leaves a real, lasting impact. And that's the essence of Stoic seduction. It's not about what you say. It's about how you behave when you're not saying anything at all. One thing you need to know about women: she will test you. She'll take forever to text back. She'll act like she's not interested. She'll bring up other guys on purpose. She'll create little situations just to see how you react. Not because she's evil. It's pure instinct. She's testing your emotional foundation. Testing if you're like all the rest. Testing if you crumble with a hint of rejection. Testing if your confidence is real or just a show. And if you fail, if you react with jealousy, insecurity, or desperation, she loses interest. But if you hold your gaze, if you smile calmly, if you don't change your behavior because of it, you pass the test. And from that moment on, she sees you differently. Because now, she sees a rare man. From now on, adopt this mental posture. You're not here to prove your worth. You're not here to beg for attention. Your value is already solid. If she doesn't see it, that's her loss. You don't force situations. You don't chase. You don't try to fit where there's no space. This mindset turns you into a magnet, because absence of desperation is the presence of true power. You stand out effortlessly, and it shakes people. Because they're used to men who beg, who try too hard, who reveal weakness in the first few interactions. But you're different. You're the man who doesn't explain himself desperately, who doesn't need outside validation to know his own worth. And that, my brother, is pure magnetism. A truly magnetic man doesn't walk into a room trying to prove anything. He walks in like he already knows exactly who he is and what he's worth. He doesn't compete with other men. He doesn't shout to be heard. He doesn't need a crowd to feel important. His presence alone demands respect. And that respect comes from inner silence, genuine peace, total emotional mastery. And the most interesting part? When this man speaks, everyone listens. Not because he's loud, but because he speaks with truth and inner authority. And women, they feel that energy. They don't know how to explain it. They just feel the difference. Here's your final challenge. Imagine this scene. You're at a dinner with friends. A stunning woman walks in. Every guy turns his head. They whisper, they laugh louder, they try to show off. You just observe. You greet her naturally when introduced. Then go back to your conversation, like nothing out of the ordinary happened. You're totally at peace. You're emotionally whole. You're in complete control. And guess who she'll remember at the end of the night? You already have everything you need to be that man. You don't need scripted lines. You don't need fancy tricks. You don't need to pretend to be someone else. You just need to reconnect with who you are, without the masks or insecurities. The Stoic man doesn't live reacting emotionally to everything. He lives by conscious choice. And when you choose to be emotionally whole instead of needy and dependent, you stop being one more in the crowd and become truly unforgettable. Now listen to this final thing. There's a tiny, nearly invisible detail that separates insecure men from those who dominate everything, especially themselves. That detail might be hiding in your core energy, in the way you walk into a room, in how your body reacts when you need it most. Most men never even notice it, but the few who do, they transform from the inside out, completely. I'm not giving you a magic formula, but I'll say this. If you feel like you've lost power over the years, if something deep down is holding you back, and you can't quite figure out what, maybe it's time to take that seriously. There's something natural that can help you take back control. Something subtle, but powerful enough to change how you feel and how people respond to you. It's right there, silently waiting in the description below. Only click if you're ready to reclaim what's always been yours, your absolute masculine confidence. If you made it this far and truly absorbed the message, comment, "I am the silence that commands respect." This is more than an educational video. It's a powerful reminder, a code, a path. Most men will keep searching for external answers, but the rare ones, the truly rare, will look within and do the real inner work. Like this video. Subscribe. Share it with other men who need to hear this. Because being a rare man isn't easy, but it's absolutely possible. And if something inside you stirred while watching this, maybe it's because you were already on the path. You just needed a little push in the right direction. And now that you know that, don't stop. The journey of the stoic, grounded, magnetic man doesn't end with a video. It begins when you decide to become your own unshakable pillar.